This morning.
Good.
Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, Genex.
Great, excellent. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending. With reactions trailing the joint session of the National Assembly on Wednesday, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu presented the 2024 budget proposal of 27.5 trillion naira. While many Nigerians have expressed concern about the projected expenditure of the budget, Senate President Godswill Akpabio assured the president that lawmakers will consider the budget. Akpabio, however, advised the president not to allow his cabinet members travel when they're expected to defend the budget at the National Assembly.
We assure you that the proposals you have come to present to us will be diligently considered accordingly. We approach this moment with a sense of duty, unity and purpose. To ensure maximum attention to the review of the year 2023 budget performance and the consideration of the year 2024 budget estimates. We request Mr. President would mandate honorable ministers and heads of agencies to avoid foreign travels during this period of our engagements with them. That will prevent them from dishonoring the invitation of the chambers of the National Assembly. They will promptly appear before our committees to defend their budget estimates. We will not want to wait for them, otherwise we will lose time, and time is not on our hands.
All right. Akpabio says he wants the ministers around, he wants them not to travel, otherwise they will lose time. I mean, this is a concern for a lot of Nigerians because people are saying, he wants to pass this budget so quickly. But however, after that budget proposal, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu traveled to Dubai for COP28 for the climate summit, which is themed Unite, Act and Deliver. There he'll discuss severe impact of climate change on Nigeria. And you know that, we had a lot of issues with flooding, as well as erosion, drought and national security. The president obviously must have traveled with senior delegates for that summit. We don't know who they are. We don't know the ministers. I know that the Minister of Environment will be there, as well as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. But another reaction trailing the joint session of the National Assembly was a song of allegiance, "On Your Mandate, We Shall Stand," which was used to usher in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu before he presented the budget. Well, let's take a listen before we come back for a discussion.
So, distinguished colleagues and honorable members, let us at this point welcome the President, a man with track record, an alumnus of the National Assembly, to present his budget estimates. Can we give him a resounding applause?
Well, all right. Let's take some reactions. This is the big wig. His tweet reads, "National Assembly singing for Tinubu. We have witnessed rubber stamp Senate under Ahmed Lawan. But this Godswill Akpabio Senate is a collection of hype men. He has moved from wearing Tinubu's insignia cap to on your mandate hyperlord, right on the floor of the Senate. Every well-meaning Nigerian must condemn this rendition of Tinubu's campaign tune in the National Assembly chamber, an evidence of outright totalitarianism." Dr. Abati.
I agree with, what do you call that person?
Big wig.
Big wig. Is that a name?
Yes.
Okay.
On Twitter.
But in any case, what he's saying makes sense.
Big wig Austin. His name is Austin.
This is how it starts. Hero worship.
Yes, sir.
This is how parliaments in Africa turn their presidents into dictators. The National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria if you check both chambers, both red and green, it's a collection of members from different political parties. Labour Party is there, PDP is there, APGA is there, you know, other political parties are there. So it's a place for lawmaking, for good governance, an oversight assembly. This kind of open sycophancy is primitive, if I may use that word. On your mandate we stand is the slogan, is the song, you know, for the APC.
Right.
So the APC cannot hijack a bipartisan National Assembly, you know, where there are other political parties representing the interests of Nigerians. And if you look at the result of the election, it's not every Nigerian that is standing on the mandate of President Tinubu. When the president arrives at an occasion, the appropriate thing to play is the national anthem.
Correct.
And I hope that these lawmakers are not going to pursue the idiocy of playing APC song at public events. The recognized song in Nigeria is the national anthem. If they want, and the presentation of the budget before the National Assembly is a national occasion, not an APC occasion. So that's, you know, something to be really condemned. Now, what's the first leg of the story before this?
We talked about the ministers.
The ministers not traveling. Okay. The president asked the National Assembly, the leadership of the National Assembly, to pass the bill expeditiously. And I guess that is within the context of the plan by the government to keep to the old budget cycle of January to December, you know, so that it's not as we used to have it in the past. You now have to run the old budget till, you know, almost half of the year. So I think that in itself makes sense. If the National Assembly is now saying, well, due to the harmonious relationship that we have, we will pass the budget very quickly. But they are saying ministers should not travel, heads of ministries and departments and agencies should not travel, because they will be required, of course, to come and defend some of the line items and explain, and to prevent a situation whereby these lawmakers will write themselves into the Appropriation Act of Nigeria. So it's important that those heads of MDAs also show up. However, if there is proper coordination, I say coordination, I'm not saying the legislature should take directives from the executive. If there is proper coordination, if any minister has a compelling reason to travel, the National Assembly will have been informed and everything can be very smooth. But the more important point is that the National Assembly has an obligation to do due diligence, not to use that budget to fund luxury. Nigerians don't expect that they will start importing luxury items, luxury subheads into that or constituency projects for their own, interest. But otherwise, the Senate President made a number of points about the need to reduce the debt burden, the need to prioritize education, the need for diversifying the economy, the need for Nigeria to stop over-dependence on crude oil, and his point about, how to unbundle some offices, particularly ministries and agencies, either to scrap some or join some. What he needed to say really is that the Tinubu government must summon the courage to implement the Onosaya report, which has been on the table since, so that we can plug the wastages and leakages that Akpabio was talking about. So those are the more important points that he made. But we do not expect that this show of sycophancy will continue, and not that sycophancy on your mandate we stand. They've already passed the budget before even looking at it.
All right, Rufai, if you recall, I did take this story where, Tinubu had this FEC meeting and they played this actual tune. But I said it was because he had just been announced or affirmed president of Nigeria. He was in a group of his people and they had to play that tune. However, it's not the first time, Dr. Abati, you are saying that they shouldn't play it in public. If you recall, during the Niger crisis, I know that the president is the ECOWAS chair. They played the same song of allegiance there.
The allegiance should be to the Constitution, not to an individual.
Rufai is...
I'm blowing hair this morning because, God help me, we had a country, if we truly had a republic, by now, those in their constituency should be sending them letters to show how disgruntled they are, and if possible, recalling them. It is that bad. We're losing the country with psychophancy. But it's not only Tinubu. It happened during Buhari's administration. Remember how people were wearing Buhari's insignia on their body? Now everybody's wearing his cap and all of that. What level of madness have we got into in this country? It's a whole new level of madness. What level of madness are we doing? At the hollow chamber? By playing that song, a partisan song, they desecrated the hollow chamber. And they must account for it. Let's go back history. Do you know what caused the first English Civil War? The king tried to overreach himself in the parliament, and the parliamentarians kicked against it. King Charles I. It led to the emergence of Oliver Cromwell, the Lord Protector of England. The parliament is for the people of Nigeria. Parlement. The meaning of the parliament is parlement, to speak on behalf of the people. Not to do political sentiment and hypocrisy, or listen to songs of allegiance posed to a certain political party. And there were some other lawmakers there, they couldn't talk. How would they be able to talk? Maybe we're telling Labour Party lawmakers, when they were part of those that collected the 160 million for cars, will they have the nerve to speak? We're telling lawmakers from other parties to discountenance that they didn't do it. But how will they be able to talk? We forget in a hurry, Oji. We forget that there are three co-equal arms of government in this country. The judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. President Tinubu is the head of one equal arm, the executive. The legislature has a head of his own arm. But we have a legislator that don't even know themselves, and they are kowtowing to the executive. They are worse than copy and paste now. They are worse than rubber. They are hype men, as Big Wig called them.
Hype men.
So shame on all of them for not understanding that they are a co-equal arm of government in this country, and they are singing an allegiance song
Well, all right.
to the executive. You can see where we started.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was important to highlight it. We don't need a hype man at the National Assembly.
Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, please.